Buddhism, with its ancient wisdom, offers profound insights into the nature of self-awareness, personal growth, and compassion. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of self-cultivation, recognizing that true liberation and peace come from within. While we live in a world where social dynamics and comparisons with others are frequent, Buddhist teachings encourage a journey inward, focusing on one's thoughts, actions, and inner development. In Buddhist philosophy, focusing on oneself isn't about self-centeredness or isolation, but rather about understanding and transforming one's inner world. Here's an in-depth exploration of this wisdom, highlighting various Buddhist principles and practices. 1. The path of introspection, understanding the self. In Buddhism, introspection is the cornerstone of personal transformation. The Buddha taught that without understanding oneself, it's challenging to understand or help others. This form of self-focus is not selfish, but is instead seen as the essential first step toward genuine compassion and wisdom. The concept of anatta, no self. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is the concept of anatta, or no self. This doctrine suggests that the self, as we understand it, is not a fixed, permanent entity, but rather a collection of thoughts, experiences, and sensations. The constant focus on others often leads to a strengthened ego, which is exactly what Buddhism seeks to dissolve. Focusing inward and examining the mind helps one understand that personal identity is fluid, reducing attachment to ego, and thus minimizing judgments and comparisons with others. Meditative practices. Meditation is one of the primary tools for introspection in Buddhism. Through practices like vipassana, insight meditation, practitioners learn to observe their thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations without judgment. By turning attention inward, one cultivates an awareness of the transient nature of experiences, allowing for greater self-understanding and inner peace. 2. Avoiding comparison, the wisdom of contentment. Comparison is often a source of suffering, as it leads to feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, or arrogance. Buddhism teaches that each person's path is unique, and by focusing on the self rather than others, one can cultivate a sense of contentment and gratitude. The practice of equanimity, upekkha. In Buddhism, upekkha, or equanimity, refers to a balanced, calm state of mind, especially in the face of life's ups and downs. Equanimity allows practitioners to remain unaffected by external comparisons, staying grounded in their own experience and inner peace. This practice fosters resilience and reduces the emotional turmoil that arises from focusing on the achievements or failures of others. Mindfulness and present moment awareness. Buddhist teachings highlight the importance of living in the present moment. Mindfulness encourages individuals to focus on their current actions, thoughts, and emotions rather than dwelling on others' opinions or actions. By focusing on the present, one reduces the tendency to compare or measure oneself against others, fostering a sense of inner fulfillment. 3. The power of self-discipline, mastering one's mind. In Buddhism, self-discipline is regarded as essential for spiritual growth. By focusing on oneself and cultivating discipline, individuals gain greater control over their minds and actions, allowing them to act in alignment with their values rather than reacting impulsively to others. Right effort and right mindfulness, the Eightfold Path. The Buddha's Eightfold Path includes right effort and right mindfulness, both of which encourage personal responsibility and focus. Right effort involves cultivating positive qualities while avoiding negative ones, while right mindfulness is about staying aware of one's thoughts and actions. Together, they promote a focus on self-improvement and self-awareness rather than getting lost in the actions or opinions of others. The role of the 5 precepts. Buddhism provides ethical guidelines called the 5 precepts, which emphasize non-harm, honesty, respect, self-restraint, and mindfulness. Adhering to these precepts requires discipline and self-awareness, reinforcing the focus on oneself rather than on external validation or comparison. Practicing these precepts cultivates integrity, leading to peace and contentment. 4. Compassion begins within, cultivating loving kindness toward oneself. Compassion is central in Buddhism, but it starts with self-compassion. The focus on oneself includes treating oneself with kindness, understanding, and patience, which, in turn, builds a foundation for extending compassion to others. The practice of metta, loving-kindness meditation. Metta is a meditation practice focused on cultivating loving-kindness, beginning with oneself. By practicing metta, individuals develop a compassionate attitude that allows them to focus on self-acceptance and well-being. As one strengthens self-compassion, they become less concerned with external judgments or comparisons, enabling them to connect with others more genuinely. Acceptance and forgiveness. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of acceptance, of oneself and of others. By focusing on inner growth and forgiving oneself for past mistakes, individuals learn to let go of guilt and self-criticism. This forgiveness extends to others as well, fostering empathy and reducing the desire to criticize or compare oneself. 5. Letting go of attachments. The path to inner freedom. Attachment is a significant source of suffering in Buddhism, and focusing on others often reinforces attachments to reputation, status, or validation. By focusing inward and reducing attachments, one finds liberation and peace. The teaching of non-attachment upadana. Non-attachment, or upadana, is the practice of letting go of desires and clinging. When we are overly focused on others, we become attached to how we are perceived or how we measure up. Non-attachment encourages individuals to let go of these external validations, finding contentment within themselves. Simplicity and detachment. Living a simple life is a key aspect of Buddhist practice, where one focuses on essentials and avoids unnecessary desires. By detaching from material and social comparisons, one gains clarity and satisfaction in life's simpler aspects. This focus on simplicity promotes peace, as it reduces the need for comparison or validation from others. 6. Karma and personal responsibility. Owning one's path. Karma is a fundamental concept in Buddhism, emphasizing that one's actions shape one's future experiences. This understanding reinforces the idea of focusing on oneself, as each person is responsible for their actions and the consequences that follow. Understanding the law of cause and effect. The law of karma teaches that every thought, word, and action contributes to the conditions of one's future. This awareness motivates practitioners to focus on their behavior and choices rather than on the actions of others, cultivating a sense of personal accountability and purpose. Empowering self-reflection. Self-reflection is essential in understanding and improving one's karma. By focusing on personal growth, one recognizes that true change must come from within, and attempting to change or control others is not only futile but also a distraction from one's own journey. Conclusion. Buddhist wisdom on focusing on oneself is a path toward peace, freedom, and compassion. By shifting attention inward, practicing mindfulness, and cultivating compassion, one gradually liberates themselves from the anxieties and distractions of the external world. This journey is not one of isolation or egoism, but of deep understanding, leading to authentic connection and empathy. Buddhism teaches that true fulfillment lies in self-awareness, personal responsibility, and inner peace. This path encourages us to see others not as points of comparison, but as fellow travelers in the journey of life, deserving of compassion and respect.